How's everybody doing? I'm Jay Elson, and this is Coyote Corner. Well, the University of South Dakota had a number of positives to take away from their trip to Oregon in week number 1 of the college football season. The biggest detraction was the loss of starting quarterback Kevin Earl, who suffered a broken thumb in the third quarter. With Earl now out a minimum of 6 weeks, the Coyotes have turned to Ryan Saeger to lead the offense, beginning with their home opener Saturday against William Penn. For more on USD's new signal caller, here's Alex Heiner.
Thanks, Jay. Well, after the news hit regarding the severity of Kevin Earl's injury last week, the attention of Coyote Nation turned to USD's number 2, both on the roster and on the depth chart. It's a big job to unexpectedly step in as the next man up under center, but for Ryan Saeger, it's one that he's ready for. In the eyes of most, quarterback is viewed as the most important position in all of sports, let alone football. So for the University of South Dakota, the luxury of returning a proven starter like Kevin Earl to take the snaps for a second season was a big plus entering 2014. But only 3 quarters into the campaign, what was an area of certainty became much more unclear when Earl broke the thumb on his throwing hand in the season opener against the University of Oregon. Enter Ryan Saeger, a redshirt sophomore from Heartland, Wisconsin.
At that point, it was just a mix of emotions. You know, I was excited. It's the first time I've been able to play a game in 3 years. And a little bit of nerves, obviously, too. You know, you're going up against a Pac-12 opponent. But I was just more excited, to be honest.
Despite the situation and the caliber of opponent, Saeger played well in the fourth quarter, going 5 of 8 for 62 yards in the passing game and driving the Coyotes inside the Duck red zone on the final drive of the night. For Saeger, the experience couldn't have been more important.
I think it was very big for me personally, for my self-confidence. You know, I'm a confident player as it is, but just knowing that I moved the ball against that caliber of a team, I think it did nothing but help me to be able to move the ball, make some plays. I, got out of the pocket a little bit, and my teammates did a great job.
With Earl now officially out until October, the team is Saeger's to lead, at least for now. And while Coyote offensive coordinator Wes Bashaner notes several differences in his 2 quarterbacks.
Ryan's a little bit more vocal than Kevin. That's the biggest difference. Kevin does have a little bit of a stronger arm than Ryan, and Ryan's maybe a touch quicker than Kevin, but he might beg to differ.
The similarities between Earl and Saeger aren't hard to see.
They both want to win, and they're both big guys that can run, and that's something that you don't really see a lot. They're 6'4" plus, they're 220 pounds, and they got great feet, really live arm, quick hands, they're both intelligent.
As the caretaker of the offense for now, Saeger knows what's required of him to be successful.
Get the ball into the playmaker's hands, make my reads quick, like Coach Bashaner's been stressing this week. Get the ball out of my hands and just make plays like I know I can and like I've been doing in fall camp.
And one thing's for certain, after 2+ seasons of waiting for his chance, Ryan Saeger is ready to play.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm excited. Let's do it. That's what I've been saying all week.
Well, you can tell from that piece that confidence is not at a premium with Ryan Saeger, and that was certainly evident with the way he played against the Statesmen on Saturday, Jay.
It certainly was. We're going to show you exactly how Saeger fared in his first career start when we come back.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by Billionauto.com.
Well, there's no doubt that South Dakota's first 2 opponents were in different worlds in terms of quality. But given the situation at quarterback, you could argue that Saturday's home opener against William Penn had become more valuable than the game at Oregon, which netted the Coyotes a cool $525,000. That was especially true for Ryan Saeger, who got his first career start in place of the injured Kevin Earl. First meeting between USD and William Penn since 2009. The Coyotes won that one 52-0. But this would be a very different game. First quarter, South Dakota on the move. Jasper Sanders upended after a 13-yard run. He looked down, but the officials say no. Deshaun Conley picks it up, heads the other way, returns it all the way down to the USD 10-yard line to give William Penn a 1st and goal. Tough break for the Coyotes. The Statesmen cash in 3 plays later. Taylor Parsons on the QB keeper. The extra point was blocked, but William Penn on the board first. Coyotes come right back. Trevor Bama, 17 yards to the William Penn 26, and that was a sign of things to come for the sophomore. 6 plays later, though, it's his backfield running mate that finishes off the drive. Sanders, his first touchdown of the season, gives USD its first lead, 7-6. It's 9-7 Statesman in the second, but the Coyotes continue to ground and pound. Jordan Roberts gets a chance and makes it count. 13 yards to the WPU 43. Everybody getting in on the act. Saeger shows some wheels down to the 19 for another USD first down. 4 snaps later, it's Saeger again. Rolls left, finds nothing but green in front of him. 6 yards for the score. Coyotes led 14-9 at the half. Third quarter, the defense makes a play. Statesmen go to the air, and Chris Tyler all over it. First career INT for the JUCO transfer, and the Coyotes take over at their own 32. And the offense takes it from there. Saeger building some chemistry with Josh Vandermotten. Finds him not once, but twice. 38 yards in total, the second, setting the Coyotes up with a first and goal inside the 5. Bama then caps off the 6-play, 68-yard drive with his second score in as many weeks. This one from 4 yards out. USD extends the lead to 12. Fast forward to the fourth. Now 24-9 Coyotes, but the Statesmen aren't going away. Jatavius Stewart on the end around. Needed 11, and he got 12. First and goal, William Penn. And they punch it in 1 play later. Michael Thomas bulldozes his way to pay dirt from 5 yards out. It's a 1-score game with 10 minutes to play. Coyotes needed an answer, and they'd get one. Bama with another great run, keeps his feet, rumbles 22 yards to the William Penn 24. Bama finished with 115 yards on 19 carries. That one set up Miles Bergner from 40 yards out. His second field goal of the day gives USD a little breathing room at 27-16. The defense helps salt the game away from there. Next William Penn possession. Tyler Hafner's pass never had a chance. Colin Buscarini can't make the pick, but Tyson Graham does. USD ball at the Statesman 29. And that would lead to this. Saeger, with his second rushing touchdown of the day, makes it 34-16. Coyotes would add to that lead on a Jake Lair fumble return late in the fourth. And they go on to get the win by a count of 41-16. Saeger, solid in his first career start, completed 8 of 13 passes for 111 yards and 1 interception. He also ran for 79 yards and those 2 touchdowns. Coyotes put up 357 yards rushing as a team, with Bama and Sanders each eclipsing the century mark. Defensively, USD did give up 335 yards on the ground, but they also forced 3 turnovers, which led to 21 points.
These 2 games really helped us to see where we are, and now we know where we are, and we know we have to work on.
The fans were here and strong and loud for us. And, you know, we kept the ball moving on the ground, which is what we needed to do. And, you know, Coach let me get out of the pocket and let my arm go a little bit, which is what I'm comfortable with. So I think they're all positive so far.
Judging by the numbers, Saeger had himself a pretty solid day. But what did the head coach think of his performance? Joe Glenn will give us the answer when Coyote Corner returns.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by BillionAuto.com.
And welcome back to Coyote Corner, joined now by head coach of the South Dakota Coyotes, Joe Glenn. And Joe, the scoreboard on Saturday showed a 41-16 win over William Penn, convincing at least in that regard. But this wasn't easy for you. The Statesmen came to play on Saturday.
Yeah, we had a fight in our hands, and I give those guys a lot of credit. They came in here and played really good, hard-nosed football, but in the end, they were a little bit overwhelmed down the stretch and couldn't hang, and we did enough to win the game and win going away.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit more about it now. A lot of talk leading up to this game was the fact that Ryan Saeger was going to get his first career start at quarterback. And when it came down to it, I thought he played pretty well. 8 of 13 passing, 111 yards. He also ran for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns. What overall did you think of his performance?
Well, number one, the key is he's a winning pitcher. And he went in and did a real good job. We took a lot of it off him and put it on the running game, and we rushed for 357 yards. Everybody who touched the ball rushed for over 6 yards a carry. So I think Coach Bouchard did a great job of just, hey, let's put it on the big guys up front. Let's put it on the running backs. Let's keep hammering, and we did, and it worked.
Because when you're that successful on the ground, as you said, 357 yards, you ran for 4 touchdowns on the day, great yard per carry average. That takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback. Doesn't force him to make any more throws than he has to.
Well, and he checked into the right play all day long. I think he missed one check to the wrong side. But he was tuned in. He'd got all the signals but one, I think. I just thought he did a real good job. He scrambled real well. He did one where he pinwheeled. He got hit trying to get the first down, and he got it. But he dove and went up in the air, and he's 6'4", and went all the way around and came down and bounced right back up. And I think he won the hearts of the Coyote fans for that. And no, I give the guy an A in a lot of ways on that win, because he came in and first time ever playing with any pressure and did a real good job for us.
Defensively, triple option. Obviously, it's a kind of a unique thing anymore. Not so much back in the day, but you don't see it a lot anymore. And that's what William Penn came at you with. It gave you some fits. They run for 335 yards as a team. What were your thoughts on defending the run on Saturday?
Well, we're not real happy with what we did when they rushed for that much, but they passed for 0. We took the ball away from them 3 times, which produced 21 points, and we made the plays to win the game. To give up 16 points and 1 on a 10-yard drive is not so bad.
Now, you know, you have to attribute some of this, I think, maybe to the health of your defensive line. This has been a banged-up group throughout the preseason. You had 4 guys miss the game on Saturday. There was a point in the second half. You had 3 true freshmen across that defensive line. You know, good in a sense because those guys are getting experience, but certainly maybe a little bit more understandable why things were a little tougher to stop. You've got a lot of young guys out there.
True freshmen. Last year we see my running backs. Now it's, you know, interior D-line, and but we think we'll have 4 of them back in the next week or 2. So we look to shore up that a little bit, and I don't feel too bad about the way those kids competed. They tried real hard. And we were out-schemed a little bit and feel puny about that. But it's a difficult offense to defend. There's no doubt.
All right, well, we've got to wrap it up here with a special teams note. I mean, Miles Bergner comes in, 2 more field goals, both of them in the 4th quarter, and one of them really kind of helped start to put the game away. Made it a 2-score game late, but he's now 4 for 4 to start the season, couple over 40 yards. Really seems to be kicking with confidence, and after the ups and downs he had during his freshman year, you've got to be pretty pleased to see him kicking it well.
There's no question. He's 2 for 2 out in Oregon, 2 for 2 here, 31 and a 40-yarder. His time's good. Hey, the snaps are good.
Right?
The holds are good. We're executing a lot better in special teams than we did a year ago, and our punt snaps were all, you know, we're getting our punts off in under 2 seconds. Our PATs, field goals were under 1-3. So we're a lot better in this area, and it's not just Miles, it's the people around him too. So, and Miles is knocking the ball in and he's stronger and doing a better job.
All right, thanks a lot again for your time this week, Joe. Congrats on
you.
The first win of 2014. All right, well, now that we've heard from the head coach, it's time for our own Andre Fields to weigh in on Saturday's win over William Penn. We'll cover Saturday's storylines next.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by BillionAuto.com.
And welcome back. Well, a handful of things stood out during Saturday's win over William Penn, and here to weigh in on some of those storylines is our own Andre Fields. And Andre, let's start with Ryan Saeger. He was the hot topic, of course, coming into this game, and here again are his numbers. 8 of 13 passing for 111 yards. He also ran for 79 and 2 touchdowns. Before we get to you, though, let's hear what Saeger had to say about his performance.
I felt good. I felt relaxed, felt poised. Nerves didn't really hit me too bad, so that was a good thing. I was just excited to go, get those first couple plays out of the way and get going into the game, so I felt good.
The Coyotes averaged 6.6 yards per carry, Andre, as a team on Saturday, and that took a ton of pressure off of Saeger.
Oh, it'll take a ton of pressure off of any quarterback. When you're getting 6.6 yards per carry, that means basically you're getting a first down every 2 carries, or you're setting yourself up with a 3rd and short. And anytime you can do that for an offense, not just a quarterback, I mean, you're putting yourself in really, really easy game management right there.
And it's putting him in a spot where he doesn't have to make any more throws than he has to make, that the coaching staff asked him. So huge thing, and the Coyote ground game has been very, very successful here over the first couple weeks of the season. So hopefully we see that continue as the season goes on. Well, USD was great on the ground, but they also had trouble stopping the run. William Penn ran for 335 yards on the day. Now you have to attribute some of that to the Statesman's triple option offense, but also to the Coyotes' dinged up defensive line. USD had 4 D linemen miss the game due to injury or illness, and they had 3 true freshmen out there at one point in the second half.
Yeah, you know, when you think about that, that really means that they didn't have a lot of depth, which means those guys that were out there were having to play the entire game. It wasn't much rest that they could take because there was nobody to spell them. It also means, though, that going forward, if they can get some of those guys back later in the season when they do have that depth, you're going to have a lot of young guys with a lot of quality experience. So it's some positives and negatives, but it's really hard to continually pound and pound and pound when you're defending that triple option, which is what they had to do.
Now, the good news is it does sound like at least 1, maybe 2 of those guys are going to be back in the mix this week. And with that William Penn game now behind them, the season, in a sense, starts over for USD. We didn't really get to measure where this team was at through the first couple of weeks because of the opponents. Oregon, William Penn, they sit so far apart on the college football landscape. And this Saturday now at Montana is going to be the first true test that this team is going to face, at least in terms of competition.
Yeah, I mean, you figure it's like being a fighter, and you're either fighting up in the heavyweights. Let's say if you're Mayweather, you're fighting the heavyweights. You don't really expect to win. You just hope to put forth a good effort. Then if you have to fight the little guy, you really kind of expect to win, but the little guy is scrappy, and he's giving you all he got. Now you get to finally face somebody that you feel is mano y mano, and that's going to be a true test when they go up to play FCS Montana, a very physical team who they've played really close in the last 2 years. So now we do really get to see, where are we really at, Coyotes? Are we the team that fought hard in the first half against Oregon? Are we the team that maybe struggled a little bit with somebody who we expected to dominate? Now we'll get to see.
Albeit a very good Montana team, 4th in the country coming into this contest are the Grizzlies. Well, the Coyotes will head to Missoula this weekend, and we're going to take a pregame read on Montana with a little help from the voice of the Grizzlies. That's next.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by BillionAuto.com.
And welcome back. The Coyotes' first true test of the season will come this Saturday night at Montana. For more on the Grizzlies, we bring in Mick, who's in his 22nd season as the voice of Grizz football. And Mick, like USD, Montana's yet to play another FCS team this season. Grizz lost a close one at Wyoming to open the year, then beat up on Division II Central Washington last week. What are your thoughts on this team through the first 2 weeks?
Well, it's like you say, it is a hard time to gauge. You know, we thought that Wyoming would be a good measuring stick, a good barometer, but we're banged up, you know, and the offensive line is brand new. You know, we're starting 3 sophomores on the offensive line, and then we played the last game without our starting quarterback. And it's a 5th-year senior that stepped in there. It wasn't a downgrade substantially, but still, we haven't really played with everybody available.
Let's talk a little bit more about that quarterback situation. All Big Sky performer Jordan Johnson, as you mentioned, missed last week with a concussion. What's his status as of now?
Well, this early in the week, it's hard to say. He passed all the tests on Thursdays, which allowed him to run around and throw the ball a little bit, but of course still not ready for contact. So this early in the week, I'd say that it isn't even day for day. I would say early in the week that it's probably the fact that Shea will play. But, you know, I'm hopeful that Jordy can get back in there and that he'll be ready by Saturday.
Now, if he can't go, it'll be 50-year senior Shea Smithwick-Hahn, who played well in that win over Central Washington on Saturday. How is he different than Johnson?
Well, Shea's more a drop-back guy. We're not going to run a lot of zone read with Shea. He's the guy that started 3 games for us 2 years ago, didn't have to play last year much because Jordy took most of the snaps. He's got the respect of everybody in the huddle. He's the 5th-year senior, and he could start for most teams in our league.
And finally, this is the 3rd straight year that Montana and South Dakota will square off. The first 2 were close. Are you expecting that same kind of hard-fought game this Saturday?
Oh, no doubt about it. Joe's going to have his guys coming in here with their head on, with their hair on fire, and ready to go. We're excited to see him, and I think it's a great matchup for both teams.
That again was the longtime voice of the Grizzlies, Mick Helene. Well, we heard it there. It sounds like there's at least some uncertainty at the quarterback spot for Montana this week, and given that situation, Joe Glenn says they'll prepare for both guys, but will focus more on the team than the individual.
You go after their scheme, and you see what they're doing, and they had a senior quarterback that put up 48 points against Central Washington. So they're not going to miss much in the way of what they're doing offensively.
USD takes on 4th-ranked Montana on Saturday night in Missoula. Coyotes hoping to come home with their first win over the Grizzlies since 1974 and their first victory in Missoula since 1965. Kickoff is scheduled for 8 p.m. Central Time at Washington Grizzlies Stadium, and you will be able to see that game live right here on Midco Sports Network. Before that, be sure to check out MidcoSN.com for the latest on USD football with The Corner. Producer Alex Heinert and I will take a closer look at this contest with a post on Wednesday. All right, that is our time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here next week for another episode of Coyote Corner.